Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the Plymouth Planning Board meeting for Wednesday, June 12th, being held here in the 1820 courtroom at Town Hall, 26 Court Street. Pursuant to Chapter 2 of the Acts of 2023, an act relative to extending certain COVID-19 measures adopted during the state of emergency, signed into law on March 29, 2023, this meeting will be conducted via remote and in-person participation. Specific information and the general guidelines for remote participation by members of the public and or parties with a right and or requirement to attend this meeting can be found at the town's website. Quorum of the board present. We have one member who is attending virtually, and our associate member will not be present this evening. Before going into our formal agenda tonight, as many of you may have heard, our former chair and longest-standing member, Dr. Malcolm McGregor, passed away on May 31st. Malcolm was the epitome of a public servant. He served on this board for 35 years, but that's not all. He served 16 years on the Conservation Committee, 4 years on the Board of Health, 5 years on other town boards and committees. Most recently, he was serving as a representative of town meeting for his precinct. Beyond his town service, Malcolm was an educator and a community leader. He served as professor at Massachusetts Maritime Academy, where he began teaching math and physics before founding degree programs in emergency management, marine safety, and environmental protection. He was also a stalwart conservationist, working with groups such as the Wildlands Trust, where he helped develop projects and led walks so that people here in Plymouth could learn to appreciate our open space. We, as a community, owe Malcolm the greatest of debts. His passing is a true loss for all of us. Our thoughts are with Malcolm's family at this difficult time, and I can say that his family has requested that in lieu of other things, a donation be made to the Wildlands Trust in his name. Moving to our agenda for this evening, we'll start with our administrative notes. We have minutes for both May 8th and May 22. We'll start with May 8. Do I have questions, comments, changes? And Mr. Hartman, I cannot see Ms. Keene.
I am here. Can you hear me?
Oh, no, it's not you. It was us. Technologically, we did not have you up on the screen.
Oh, well, there you go.
Seeing no questions, comments, or changes, I'll entertain a motion.
Motion to approve. Minutes.
Second.
Okay, I have a motion and a second for approval of the May 8th minutes. Any further discussion? Seeing none, I will call the roll. Ms. Keene?
Yes.
Mr. Bennett?
Abstain.
Mr. Donaldson?
Yes.
Mr. Grandy?
Yes.
And myself, yes. Moving to the minutes for May 22nd. Do I have any questions, comments, changes? Again, seeing none, I will entertain a motion.
A motion to approve minutes from May 22nd.
Second.
Further discussion? Seeing none, I'll call the roll again. Mr. Donaldson?
Yes.
Mr. Grandy?
Yes.
Mr. Bennett?
Yes.
Ms. Keene?
Yes.
And myself, yes. Next, moving on, we have covenants, plans, and releases. We have B629, Carver Landing Bond Release. Do I have any questions from the board? Seeing none, I will entertain a motion.
Motion to approve.
Second.
I have a motion second. Any discussion? Seeing none, I will call the roll. Mr. Bennett?
Yes.
Ms. Keene?
Yes.
Mr. Grandy?
Yes.
Mr. Donaldson?
Yes.
And myself, yes. Next, we have Form A plans. A, 4879, Whitman Homes, Inc., lot line adjusting map 77F, lot 15-49 through 15-452, and S 303. Questions, comments from the board?
Mr. Chairman?
Yes, Mr. Bennett.
So this is a survey plan, and it is somewhat deficient in that respect, having been stamped by a registered land surveyor. Part of the Board of Registration of Land Surveyors and Civil Engineers regulations state that monuments lines shall be marked on the ground such that in combination with the monuments recovered, sufficient monuments exist to enable future surveyors to reliably reproduce the lines as surveyed, even if some of the reference monuments are compromised over time. This plan does not show monuments. However, I am willing to recommend that we sign it based on the fact that it is a lot line adjustment, but I'd like to put the preparers on notice that survey plans must have monuments on them as part of the Board of Registration's rules. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Bennett. And I think that's something for staff to be aware of in future. We should be informing applicants that we are going to be looking for monuments on plans as they're
And we have done that with the Pine Hills. We have notified them.
Very good. Any further questions, comments? Seeing none, I'll entertain a motion.
Motion to approve.
A motion
Second?
and a second.
To endorse.
Further discussion? I will call the roll. Mr. Donaldson,
Yes.
Mr. Grandy,
Yes.
Mr. Bennett,
Yes.
Ms. Keene,
Yes.
and myself, yes. Next on our agenda this evening, we have an appointment for the Manomet Village Steering Committee. Cynthia Gross.
Yes.
Hi, why don't you come on up to the microphone and introduce yourself?
Good. My name is Cynthia Goss. My husband and I have been residents of Manomet for about 25 years, and I thank the chairman of the board and the members of the board for this opportunity to apply for the Manomet Steering Committee. I have tried to give back to the community, and a neighbor had recommended that I consider applying for the Manomet Steering Committee as a way to do this and get more involved. I did read the the Manomet Village Plan, and became familiar with that, and look forward to being part of that effort if you allow me to become part of this committee.
Great, thank you. Do I have any questions from board members
Comment.
or comments?
I just want to say thank you for applying. And you've been going to the Manomet steering committees, and you said you read the master plan
Yes.
for Manomet. I just want to thank you for applying, and it's always great to see new volunteers. Fantastic. Thank you.
Thank you.
So, Mr. Chairman, if I could ask a question?
Please,
Of
go
Ms.
ahead.
Goss?
Please, go ahead, Ms. Keene.
Thank you. Ms. Goss, I'm here on Zoom, and I wish I was seeing you in person. But I want to, again, as Mr. Grandy had said, thank you. But I have a question. Now that you've read the master plan and you have attended some meetings, is there something that you feel is one of the highest priorities or one of your priorities that you would like to shepherd through the Village Steering Committee?
One of the things I appreciated about the plan was its balance between commercial interests, residential interests, historical, and open space. And I think it's important to maintain that balance. One of the things I have noticed is that there is some commercial space available in Manomet Village that could use some attention. I'm not sure what efforts have been made to find tenants for that. The Symes House is underutilized. That's another area that might, we need some proposals for that, I believe. We have had one initial meeting to see if we could form a Manomet Historical Society. We're going to hopefully have another meeting soon to see if there's enough interest to do that. And, I just have a lot of interest in how much is available in our community, and hope that our resources can be better utilized in that sense.
Thank you very much. I appreciate your answer. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you, Ms. Keene. Anything further? Mr. Donaldson.
Yes, I have a question for you. Has there been any discussions or talks in regards to the youth center in Manamet in regards to the upkeep and trying to maybe freshen it up a little bit, if you know what I'm referring to?
Is it the Manamet Center on Bartlett Road?
Yes.
Yes. I'm not aware of what has been discussed about that. One of the things I would look forward to is better understanding the problems that face Manamet and what we can do to make improvements. If that's one of the issues, I would certainly think it's an important place to improve. Sorry.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Anything further? If not, I'll entertain a motion.
Motion to approve the appointment?
I have a motion to approve. Do I have a second?
Second?
Thank you. Motion to approve in second. I'll call the roll. Ms. Keene.
Yes.
Mr. Bennett.
Yes.
Mr. Grandy.
Absolutely.
Mr. Donaldson.
Yes, please.
And I am a yes as well. Congratulations. Thank you for your volunteerism. Make sure you get sworn in by the town clerk.
Okay.
And again, looking forward to working with you on the steering committee.
Thank you very much.
Next on our agenda this evening is an update from the West Plymouth Steering Committee. The more the merrier.
Hello, everybody. I'm Judy Barber, the chair of the West Plymouth Steering Committee, and we have second in command here is Tina Raposa. We have Peg Scott over there, Michelle Arnold, and also we have five all together. We welcome this opportunity to come before the planning board, and we don't get a chance to communicate like this, and it's really quite a pleasure, and we're glad that you've done this. What we'd like to do is to update you on some of the projects that we're working on, and also there's a couple policy issues that we feel strongly about that we feel we should share with you to get a sense of where you all stand on it. So I'll start out here. We updated our master plan several years ago, and at this point we are implementing as much as we can some of the recommendations. The big area that we're involved with is sidewalks. It's something we feel very strongly about because West Plymouth has grown so immensely over the past years. And that it does affect the way of life of people that are living there. And so that's a concept I want to talk about a little bit more. But 2 years ago, we went before the town meeting, and we were able to get a 2/3 vote for $1.5 million for sidewalks for Route 80, and that's from Commerce Way down to Hilda. And I must say that I didn't hear anyone say the sidewalks were not needed. I think there's a strong support here for sidewalks in Plymouth and a great sensitivity to the fact that the residential areas are being impacted by all this growth. I spoke to James Downey, who's the Assistant Director of Public Works, and he said that the town is currently in the final design stages, that there's several other items they've got to bring up to speed to be finished. But he has reached out to the construction contractor to discuss tentative scheduling and pricing. So it looks like this project is going to be starting to move pretty quickly. And we waited, we've been very patient, and we're very excited that the town supported this and that we can go forward. The other issue that I would like to talk a little bit about is the need to consider the off-development impacts. For instance, traffic is one thing, and perhaps you put a traffic light in, but the impact adjacent to that, along the public ways, there is a strong need for sidewalks and bikeways. And this goes quite a distance. We were fortunate to get ours down to Hilda, and it has been engineered for the full length out to the next town. And we feel very strongly that we need to consider this growth. Economic growth is wonderful, it's necessary in a town, but also having concern for the abutters and what their lives are. And I think sidewalks go a long way for that. The project that we're working on now for sidewalks is the Carver Road one. And we would like to see the sidewalks extended from Commerce Way along Carver Road to the residential developments are there. What the thought is to build a network of sidewalks that hook into other sidewalks. There are some in various locations, but they're not connected. And so one of our hopes and desires is that we can do that. And we feel that any project coming in should be willing to help us in that endeavor. The thing is that some of these projects were laid out a long time ago. And so one of the policy issues is that when a subdivision gets its original timetable, at the end of that timetable, if it has not been developed, we think the town should take a very close look at reassessing the impacts of that development. The world has changed. Nobody can project 10 years into the future what the world is going to look like. So we feel very strongly that this should happen. And the example I'll give you is off of Montgomery, that subdivision that got put in there. There are no sidewalks in the subdivision. There are no sidewalks on Carver Road. And that's the kind of thing that we should be able to consider. Another policy issue that is of concern is that, or at least we want to know more about, is major developments. And even if it does not require a special permit, we in the West Plymouth Steering Committee are very interested in any major developments that we don't know about. And some of them may be old subdivisions. And the example I would give for that is the expansion of the industrial park. We knew nothing about that. And we certainly would have wanted to come to any meetings. I follow the agendas of the planning board. I read all things, and I did not see anything about that. So we're hoping that if there are any major developments, even though not special permit, we would really appreciate learning about that. So those are kind of the thoughts that I have, and Brian is going to be covering the garden project that we have.
Good evening. So for the garden project, our intent was to try in various areas of the West Plymouth Village set up some gardens. So far to date, we've installed 2 at Federal Furnace and West Elementary Schools, and the next one is going to be the West Village Fire Station. On this first picture that you're looking at is the Federal Furnace, and we actually put a garden on either side of the entrance. So one that's under the sign, and the other one is on the opposite side of the driveway coming in. These aren't the greatest pictures. It wasn't taken at an optimal time. But our goal was, and it'll come to fruition after the garden was just installed last June, July timeframe. But as the plants mature, the goal was to add color all season long. So even during the winter, you have the evergreens, and in the spring there'll be flowers, and in the fall there'll be colors as well. Can we move to the next slide? Whoops, I got it. Okay. And this is the West Elementary. Again, it's under the sign, and then across. Whoops, go back. Whoa. Mother would say, NASA's not going to call. Okay. And then this is the opposite side of the sign. The entrance is guards. And again, this couple that got a little brown, we're replacing those. So we're refreshing up the mulch. And also it's the grass is kind of like coming into the garden, so we're planning on putting edge of rocks around it to keep it out and freshen it up some more. And then this one is, the fire station is very exciting. This whole area, I could probably talk loud. In the area here where you're looking, all this brush, it's already been removed as part of the clearing in the final stages of the fire station restoration. This area has all been cleared out, but the 2 oak trees remain. And then in between the oak trees is going to be this like a half crescent natural stone wall. And behind that will be the garden. And again, it'll add color for all season long. I mean, all year long, I should say. And that one actually I went by the fire station earlier today, and they started the work on it. They dug the trench where they'll place the stones, the crushed stones, and then they'll start placing the natural stone wall. So that'll be done within the next week or two. And then again, we'll be looking for other areas in West Plymouth to add some additional gardens. Any questions?
I'll bring it back to the board. Thank you very much for your presentation. Questions, anyone?
Yes, sir. Who maintains these gardens? Is it just the committee members, volunteers?
Yes.
What's the involvement of the
We're
committee?
looking. Yeah, I mean it's pretty much it's the committee, but I also try and get other volunteers to help. So it's a little plug. Looking for anybody that wants to help.
Thank you.
And where are the funds coming from to do the work and to get the materials?
So the initial funds that we received a donation from the Carver Landing, the developer that did Carver Landing. He gave us a pretty decent donation. It was like $25,000. So the 3 gardens have come in under that. So I believe there's still a little money left so we can try and expand and do some additional gardens.
I think the work is wonderful, and it's commendable to all of you to not only just sit and listen to people who are concerned about the beautification of the area, but to take action and to do it. And I think it's wonderful.
Thank you.
Mr. Grandy.
Okay, it's Judy, right? That is the chair?
Yes.
I just want to, no, you don't have to come up to the microphone. I just wanted to recognize some of the things that you brought up. You did your master plan last year, and you obviously mentioned sidewalks. It's the same struggle in Cedarville. I was on the
The
Cedarville Steering
acoustics in
Committee.
this room are very difficult for me, so Tina's going to help me out with what you're asking.
No, I'm just making a comment. I'm not asking anything. I'm making a comment. That's all. So let me say it again, and I'll say it loud so everybody can hear. Sorry about that.
We only can focus in West Plymouth.
Well, I understand, but I wanted to just let you know that
Oh, Cedarville has the same issue.
Cedarville
as
has
we
the same
do.
exact
Yeah.
issue when it comes to
Yeah, there's
sidewalks.
some parts of town that sidewalks are everywhere, you know, but when you get out to the quote country, they're not there. And unfortunately, the country is not country anymore. It's now pretty well developed.
Yeah, as commercial development, especially, I think everyone would agree, West
Well,
Plymouth has taken.
yeah,
components of
I understand.
commercial
Yep.
Development, and with that is the increased traffic, and so, I think it's crucial now more than ever that we.
Could you lean more toward the microphone so everybody
Sure.
at home could hear you?
Sure, I was just saying that.
Thank you.
With West Plymouth, we have taken the brunt of a lot of the commercial development. I don't think anyone would argue that point. And with that being said, I think with that commercial development, we've had increased traffic, so I think it's more critical than ever to proceed with hopefully the next round of sidewalks. I mean, we were very pleased that we were successful with Route 80, but I think, the next step, as Judy mentioned, was we do need to try to go forward and connect all the neighborhoods. What's especially critical is there's a school right there in West Plymouth on Route 80. You have the kids coming from the neighborhoods, and some of the neighborhoods, too, that come off of Carver Road. There's a lot of residential neighborhoods in there as well. So we need a way to connect, the roadways so that the children are safe, as well as, anybody who wants to, have the experience of being able to walk to the amenities like the shopping and restaurants.
Yeah, I fully understand that. I wasn't asking a question. I
Yeah.
was trying to make a comment and
Yep,
say, yes,
understood.
I agree.
Yeah, no,
we have...
We understand.
Can I speak now? Is that all right? Thank you. Yes? Thanks. Okay. So anyway, being on the Cedarville Steering Committee before I was on the planning board and serving as its chair and serving a lot of committees throughout the town, I agree. This is a common problem, and obviously West Plymouth has seen a lot of brunt of commercial work. And yes, even the Roads Advisory Committee, of which two members here sit on, are always talking about sidewalks. So sidewalks are very important. It's just when they're on state road, and you're in the layout of the street, the state would have to approve the sidewalks, and they would be the ones that would be installing the sidewalks. But when a developer comes to the planning board here, we have, and I have, over the past 14 years, always tried to get as much sidewalks as possible, and I agree with that. Bike lanes, absolutely. So yes, I agree, we understand. Now let me move on to where you said when you don't have to come before your steering committee unless it's special permit. The liaison from this board can certainly make sure you receive the agenda if something of that magnitude comes up in West Plymouth. You can come here to the meeting and bring up the same type of issues you're discussing right now this evening. But yes, I fully understand. This board agrees, I think, and I believe everybody does, I hope so, that yes, these are some issues that we have to look at going forward to make things better for all the residents in West Plymouth and the entire town. So, thank you, is what I was trying to say.
Carver Road presents a difficulty because it became a town way, but a lot of the residents own the property underneath, but has been developed into a public way. So, just even identifying who the property owners are and how far their property goes, that's a major issue, and certainly one of the first issues. And we're trying to come up with a way to be able to accomplish that, perhaps an intern or some special grant. I know DPW's been very busy the last couple of years, partially with the Route 80 sidewalk, but if there's any support we could have for that, it would be fantastic. We're more than willing to go talk to the neighbors, pull meetings together, whatever it takes to try to lay out a plan. And of course, it's very expensive, so that's why we're hoping that any development along the way can get their share in. And, the apartment complex across from the Market Basket, we got a nice strip there, so we want to be able to make sure
Yes,
that
connectivity, absolutely.
we've done the best
Thank
we
you.
can.
Agreed.
Anything else from members of the board? Thank you very much for coming in. We really appreciate it. We are going to try and do this a bit more regularly. So hopefully you'll be able to come back to us in the fall and give us an update as to where you are. And obviously, at any point, if you have questions or issues, things that you'd like the planning board to look into or address or help you with, you feel free to contact any of us, but certainly your liaison is always the first stop, or Mr. Hartman and the other members of staff in the planning department. We are anxious to try and help you make the community the best that it can be. But we appreciate all your efforts on that part. So thank you very much.
Thank you.
Could I ask, Mr. Chairman, I'm sorry, I'm a little late to the table here. Because I am liaising to the West Plymouth Steering Committee, and I work very closely with Robin Carver, as has the entire West Plymouth Steering Committee, in order to be able to get the information that the steering committee is asking for. And I'm wondering who is going to be taking over that role now that Ms. Carver is no longer with us.
It's all done cooperatively, but that would be Lauren Lynn or Colleen, but any one of us.
So could we maybe talk about maybe one person, or that Ms. Barber would have the opportunity, or the board members would have the opportunity to have a discussion or a go-to person, such as Lauren or Colleen?
It can be Lauren, but again, depending on what the issue is or the topic, each one of us are doing different things. But sure, she could be the designated contact.
So maybe there could be an introduction, because I don't know if Lauren is actually knows a lot about the West Plymouth Steering Committee, because of she's new to the town, and maybe there could be an introduction to the committee at some point. Maybe she could be invited to a meeting or participate in a meeting. It would certainly make it a lot easier, or actually would make it a lot more effective in my work with the West Plymouth Steering Committee, if that might happen.
I am sure. I think that's a great idea, Ms. Keene. I certainly think that as Ms. Lind starts getting more and more acclimated with all the aspects of the town, meeting with the village steering committees is probably a great idea. And I think that that's a great one to propose. So thank you for that suggestion.
Thank you.
Anything further? So again, thank you very much. Greatly appreciate your time coming in. The next item on our agenda was public hearing B543 ADM Agawam Development, which is Red Brook. That has been withdrawn. It will be brought up at a later hearing date. Notices, we tried to get notices out to everybody conceivably possible. Unfortunately, obviously, you missed it. It did come up this afternoon, so it's not something that was... No, so I apologize for those who didn't, but they will be coming back, and no specific date's been picked, but notices will go out. Absolutely. Thank you very much. Do we have any other business this evening? Mr. Grandy.
I will make a motion to adjourn.
Well, before we do that, I do want to make just one reminder announcement that on June 20th, the master plan kickoff meeting is being held at the Plymouth South Middle School. There will be light refreshments provided. There will be daycare provided. Well, at that point, evening care provided, but child care assistance provided. for those who need it so that as many people can attend as possible. We invite and strongly encourage anyone and everyone to come, attend, listen, and participate. There will be activities helping the town consultants, staff, and the master plan committee members hear from the residents. It'll be the first of the listening sessions. There will be many more for those who cannot attend, but for those who can, we strongly encourage it and welcome it. And with that, I'll entertain a motion.
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
I will call the roll. Ms. Keene. Motion to adjourn, Ms. Keene?
I'm sorry, I was on mute. Absolutely, yes. Thank you.
Mr. Bennett?
Yes.
Mr. Donaldson?
Yes.
Mr. Grandy?
Yes.
And myself, yes. Thank you, everyone. This meeting is adjourned.
Go Celtics.